Happening now, the University of Maryland will have its funding reduced next year to help balance the state budget. But a new audit suggests the university is not properly managing the money it already has. This morning, Jeremy Portnoy, an investigative journalist with Open the Books, joining us live to weigh in. Jeremy, good morning. What are the major findings in this audit?
Good morning, Megan. So the big finding in this audit is that the university isn't properly checking its timesheets to make sure its staff is actually working all the hours they say they did. There was about 6,000 times in the last 3 years where staff turned in timesheets that weren't signed by them and weren't signed by their supervisors. But this money is still getting paid out. It's a total payroll of $2 billion. Not all of that's actually verified.
How deep does this go?
So it's not just the staff. The problem actually extends to the research workers as well. They've got over 5,000 open grant projects there. But some of these researchers are getting paid the wrong amount. There was one person that's supposed to get paid $117 an hour. They actually made $243 an hour. There's no documentation explaining why.
And just to be clear, Jeremy, those researchers are working with state grant money. Is that correct?
Right. They don't appear on the actual payroll, right. But the university has about $750 million in state funding for this grant work.
Very interesting. Any other problems that you saw in this audit here?
So another crazy part of this was their credit card spending. The university's credit cards have a limit of $5,000. They can't make a single purchase above that amount. But they found employees working together to kind of scam that system. They would make purchases of up to $40,000 and split it among a bunch of different credit cards, so it looks like the purchase is actually less than $5,000.
Do we know what the purchases are for? Is it a worthy buy?
We don't know exactly. The details aren't in this audit. We do know they made 4,000 purchases on these cars worth over $2 million without taking competitive bids. So they're not checking for other suppliers to see if they can get the same thing cheaper from another company.
So when we look at the funding now being reduced, do you think that's going to make matters worse for them or better? Where does that help?
I mean, you'd certainly think this audit would help them clean up these issues, and a funding cut is likely a good place to start, right? If a university can't manage its funding properly when the state is dealing with a huge budget deficit, it shouldn't be getting more funding. They should be finding ways to trim that funding and use what they have efficiently instead of wasting these funds.
Jeremy, Open the Books does a lot of research on audits like this. Is this a common issue for universities that we tend to see?
We see it a lot more at the city and state level than you see it with a university system. Universities also just get audited less in general, but I wouldn't say this is something common that you see at most state universities.
Very interesting. Well, a lot of attention now being directed towards it. Thank you for shining a light on it. We appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good weekend.
You too.